Good evening and welcome back to E39 Source. Ryan Schultz here with the 2000 M5 yet again. And today I'm going to go through the process of installing the Shark Injector software. It's just a tune. You get a little dongle when you buy the Shark from ECS/Turner. It's a tune that I really like on these cars. I know that back in the day there were a lot of people saying they didn't like it. The Conforti tune, the Shark tune, they did not like. That throttle map or whatever people complained about. I feel like those issues have been long resolved. And it's actually kind of a complicated process. It's a sensitive process, not a complicated process. It's very sensitive and important that you follow the instructions 100% precisely and accurately and in order to not damage your vehicle's electrical system, ECU, DME, computer, whatever. So here we have my car. It is right now running BMW completely stock unmodified software in the DME. Everything's original. For the last 4 years I've been running the Shark 93 octane secondary air delete 7,000 RPM redline Euro throttle settings tune, which the part number, this is my new tune, but the old part number, see the PN there, was N4M5BSSH. Now it's an SSL at the end. The only difference here is that the SSL is a 91 octane tune. My SSH was a 93 octane tune. Well, this car is going to California where they don't have 93 octane gas, so I have to detune it. So that's why I flashed it back to stock, and I'm now going back to the same software I had. The only difference being it is a 91 octane version of that. So, you know, minus 2 horsepower or whatever that is. Should have anticipated that a little better 4 years ago. Anyways, it's not going to be a total DIY for the Shark because if you know how to read, this is not a problem when you get this. Really, this is just kind of for people considering it. You can see the process and see what it looks like to upgrade your vehicle software. So the basic questions: no, your check engine light doesn't come on. It's not illegal. It doesn't void a warranty as if you even have one on this old car. But it's applicable for a lot of BMWs. That's this one. Or this instruction set is applicable for a lot of BMWs. I think they make a Shark tune for just about anything. They're about 350, 400 bucks, something like that. Does it make the car feel worlds faster? No, not really. I definitely think it adds some horsepower and a couple pounds of torque, but the throttle map is the big key here. It's so much more precise, and maybe I'm just used to it, but back with this stock BMW throttle map, I have a lot of trouble coming off the clutch smoothly, and I don't know, I don't like it. So I'm going back to the Shark. So anyways, you want to read every single word in this packet. Some of it will apply to you, a lot of it won't. They talk about pre-install notes. You have to have a battery charger. You need a big one, not a trickle charger. I don't care if your battery's brand new and you put it in yesterday. You need a big battery charger. I'll show you what I use in a minute. There's some information here on the 28 and the E46s, automatic transmissions. You got to pull some fuses. SMGs, you got to pull some fuses. Really none of this applies to the E39 M5, but be sure to read it in case it does apply to your specific information. And now is where we start reading the instructions, and we need to read every single one of these and then do it in order. But before we get into the actual instructions here, I'm going to show you the battery charger that we have to use, or not this specific one, but we've got to use one of these big ones. This one is a Napa charger that I got from Turner back 4 years ago when I first bought the Shark, and I didn't have a sufficient charger, so I got that. I don't exactly see a model number or anything on the box. Maybe, is that a model number? 85-620. All you need is a 10 to 20 constant amperage charge. So buy any sort of a battery charger that's rated at the 10 to 20 amps. This one does 20 amps beautifully, which is great, so that's what we're going to use. On the M5, the battery's back here in the middle, so remove your carpeting. I like to take that little tray up just so we have a little bit more room. And then there's 3 13mm nuts that hold down the battery cover. So I've already loosened those, put them somewhere safe, and then this is going to lift up. But you'll notice that the cable's in the way. So we'll take a 10mm socket, pop that on a wrench, loosen the 10mm, and then remove the negative terminal from the battery temporarily. Now removing the cable obviously turns off all the lights back here and has removed power from the vehicle. Before you lift that cable off the terminal on the battery, take a peek inside your car. If you're on an M5 like me and you look at navigation, you want to make sure that that screen's totally black. It doesn't have the BMW logo or the M logo or the key in the ignition, whatever. Make sure all of that is off before you remove that cable. Now with the cable off, I picked up the black piece of trim, I hid it back there in the shadows. I'm going to go ahead and reattach the battery right now. Just so we can see again. Then we've got a piece of foam. Pick that up and get that out of the way. This little dongle here I have is for my winter charger. I can probably do away with that now that it's not going to need that in California. So here's our battery. This is one of the older BMW ones I put in 2013. We are going to want to replace the nut and secure that negative terminal back down before we code anything. So let me do that now. Okay, we're back down, we're nice and tight again, so that's a safe connection. So now we can pick up our leads from whatever battery charger you're going to use. I don't have that one plugged in the wall yet, so these wouldn't matter, but they're completely safe to handle. We'll connect the red one first, followed by the black ground. Make sure we don't have too much tension on those cables, you don't want to trip on it. And then plug your charger into the wall. And then on your charger you should have some sort of settings, indicator of current voltage. We're at 12.3. If I hit this button, there we are. There's our 20 amp constant charge. So that's on. The lights have slowly gotten a little bit brighter, and we're ready to start some programming. I'm not going to read through every single step through here. It would take forever. If you're going through this process, you have the exact same resource and you shouldn't need me to read it to you. So with the battery charger on and in relation to an E39 M5, we need to lower the driver and passenger front windows. So I put down my driver's window and my passenger window. Now we need to open the glove box. Up in the ceiling of the glove box is a fuse box, a fuse panel. And the fuse panel comes down, you have to lower it by turning these white quarter turn knobs. There's two of them. Pull both of those down, the fuse panel drops out, and we remove fuses 17 and 31. Those are for the ABS/DSC system. There's a built-in fuse puller in the middle top of the fuse panel, fuse box, right here above fuse 23 and 24 and 25. So if you don't want to use your fingers or a pair of pliers, I recommend that you do use the fuse puller because it's plastic and perfectly pulls out fuses 17 and 31. So with that done, we can close the panel back up. Reason being, we want as few electrical loads going on here as possible. So closing the glove box turns our glove box light off. I have also disconnected my Blackview camera system, so that's not going to be using voltage. When I turn the key on to proceed with the update, I'm going to turn off the navigation display by navigating to monitor off. And I'm going to turn the fan speed all the way down so that goes off. If you have daytime running lights, you don't really have a choice, but take them out of automatic mode and put it in the off position if you have that option. This is the Shark Injector itself. It's a simple little OBD2 dongle. It doesn't even have all the pins in there. There's only 9 pins total. That's all it needs. The USB port on the back is not for use right now. I think that might be how they update these things. It's in the instructions here. It says that it's a feature planned for the future. The front of it has one button and 2 LEDs. There's a red LED and a green LED, and that's all there is to it. So you plug this in the OBD2 port inside the car, and when you press the button, it starts communicating back and forth. So what it does is it does a swap of the files that are on here, the tune, for some of the BMW factory files that are in the car. So it'll put the Shark files into the car and take the BMW files and put them on the Shark. So if you've got multiple people in your family or friend group that have an E39 M5 or whatever car you're doing this on, you can't share this. You can't buy it and install it on multiple cars. It will only ever work on one car. Additionally, if you take the car to the dealership after you've installed software, performance software like the Shark, and they update it, then goodbye Shark, that's gone, you're gonna get screwed up. So anytime you go to a shop and they maybe talk about updating things, say don't, I'm running performance software, leave it. Should you ever want to revert back to factory BMW software, it's very easy. I just did this yesterday because I had the 93 tune and I needed to go back to BMW. So I dug this thing out of my basement where I haven't touched it in 4 years. I plugged it in. I went through the exact same process as installing it to uninstall it. The only difference is instead of a solid green light at the end, you get the red and the green, indicating that you have restored back to BMW factory software. So today now we're going from BMW factory back to a version of the Shark. So now we're ready to put the Shark into the car, and that's done by opening the driver's door, locating your OBD2 port, and very carefully installing this. You don't want to press the button when you put it in. So hold it by the sides and push. It will click into place. So this car has the Euro dash on it, which means my OBD2 port is right up here. I've already opened the little trap door. If you don't have the Euro dash, you probably won't. If you want it, it's available at e39source.com/shop. But we've got it here. So putting it in like this, this is the orientation. You have the thicker side of the OBD towards the outside of the vehicle. That may vary from model to model, but we hold it and put it in without pressing the button. It snaps into place and we see a solid green light. And at this point, we've got the keys out of the car. What we can do now is close the door. All of these doors have to be shut the entire time. The trunk doesn't matter. I don't think the hood matters. Don't open or close the trunk or the hood during the process. Leave them how they are. But all 4 of the people doors need to be shut and fully latched. Again, have those windows down. We can take our key, put it in the ignition. Sorry for the camera work here. And turn the ignition on, like that. So you see everything lights up. The engine's not running, but there's all lights on the dash. All of that's going on. You're going to see that your brake, ABS, and DSC lights are on because we have disconnected the module from the car. Before we press the button on the Shark and start the data transfer, we want to turn off all the electrical loads in here. So as I mentioned before, we go to monitor off, and we bring our fan speed all the way down so that turns off. Make sure your lights, hey, the Valentine, that would be a good thing to disconnect. Valentine can come down out of the way. The instructions now tell us to wait for 30 seconds. So we'll wait for 30 seconds with nothing running, all the doors shut. Don't open these doors until we're completely done. The instructions say to have some sort of a mirror handy. If it's a small pocket mirror, if it's the back of a CD or DVD, aluminum foil. I don't need that. I can stick my head in the window and look right there and see that the green light is currently on solidly. It's not flickering or flashing, and just the green one's illuminated. So I'll give it another 30 seconds here just to be safe, then we're going to press the button. It has easily been 30 seconds. We can reach in and without touching anything else, just press the button on the Shark. And we can now see a faintly flickering green light. It is not as solid as it was before. It's pulsating, you can tell. If your vehicle setup's different and you can't see the light as easily by just sticking your head in the window like I can, then you will need a mirror or a camera or whatever to look in there and see what the light's doing. So if you look at step 19, yeah, we got a monitor from outside the vehicle. Don't let anybody be inside the car. Don't touch anything. Don't press anything. Do not open anything. Just don't mess with anything. Then we looked at step 20 through 22. There's separate instructions for the N4 and the N7. Well, if we go back to our box and look at the part number, the first 2 digits are going to tell you what it is. This is an N4. So if we look at step number 20, the N4 says in approximately 1.5 to 6.5 minutes, the red LED will turn on solid, while the green LED continues to pulsate, indicating the Shark Injector has entered the reprogramming phase. So it's only been about 45 seconds since I pressed that, so I'm willing to bet that our green light is still pulsating, which is indeed the case. So in a couple minutes, we'll see that red one come on and talk about the next step in a moment. Well, we wait for things. We'll talk about this voltage back here. So this is about a 12 volt electrical system, a 13 volt battery, something like that. I had about 12.2 volts, I think it said, when I first plugged it in. That was after a couple of minutes of having the car open, lights on, stuff like that. I did drive it yesterday, but 5-year-old battery. So I plugged this in. We put it on the 20 amp. I don't know why it continues to say 12 down there. I don't know if I trust that meter. I get my voltmeter here. I put it on volts DC. Self-ranging or auto-ranging voltmeter. Put them across the leads, your commons, your negative black, your positives, your hot red, and I'm getting about 13.4 volts on the charger. So the Shark has a minimum, it checks the voltage, and if you do not have 12.5 volts or higher, it'll give you an error code. And error codes are flashed out using the red LED. So you'll see the error code that I just had because my battery charger had come disconnected before the first time I tried to press that button. The error code was a flash of the red light followed by 2 seconds, followed by 2 flashes of the red LED, followed by 2 seconds, followed by 3 rapid flashes from the red light. So that's the area, that is the error code 123. So they could make any error code they wanted. Just remember that the 2-second pauses are representative of switching to the next number, and all of the codes, which I'm struggling to find, start with a 1. So that tells you where to start. So here's all the error codes. 1, 2, 3 was just vehicle voltage too low. I checked my charger and retried, and now it's fine. But these are all the different error codes that you can have. You know, bad software or whatever. If you try to take somebody else's Shark that's already been used, it's not going to work. DME or race failure. I don't know. I wouldn't worry about that. It's been 3 or 4 minutes, and the green one's still pulsating. Now the red one's on solid, which indicates that it's in the reprogramming phase successfully so far. Don't worry about your gauges maxing out. There's a lot of weird stuff going on the cluster. The coolant temperature thinks it's buried at the far right, so is the oil temp. None of that matters. It'll be fine. Next thing we're looking for is the red LED to turn back off, while the green one will pulsate, indicating that this is the final check of reprogramming. And that was very quick. The red light's gone and the green is pulsating. Now step 22 says finally in 1 to 3.5 minutes the green light's going to stop pulsating. It will be on solidly. That means the upgrade has been successfully completed and verified. If you have the red and the green, that means the restore has been successfully completed and verified. So yesterday when I did this, I had solid red and the solid green indicating a restore back to BMW factory software. Today we should have a solid green light. Right now we're still pulsating. We've got a solid green light now indicating that that part's done. So the instructions say to not remove, press the button, don't do anything to the Shark, don't open the door, but turn the ignition off completely. I'm going to leave the key in there and turn the ignition off. It is off. Now we're going to wait 1 minute. So you can open the door at this point and do that on the passenger side. Open your glove box and reinstall those 10 amp, I believe they're 10 amp, fuses in spots 17 and 31. We still have the Shark in there. We turned the ignition off after the light went solid. Put your fuses back. Now wait 1 minute. We can take our key now, still in the ignition, put it back to position 2. Keep in mind that's where all your lights come on, not the engine, but all the lights and the dings. Remove the electrical load again, turn off your monitor. Now wait 1 more minute. After 1 minute, we can reach in and carefully press the button 1 more time. We see a green pulsating light. This should last about 30 seconds, and it says it's the final transfer of data between the Shark and the DME. Very short amount of time later, we've got a solid green light. And at this point, we can turn the ignition off completely and wait another 30 seconds. Done. After those 30 seconds, go ahead and remove the Shark Injector from the OBD2, recap the port, disconnect your battery charger, you're done. We have successfully sharked the car. So I have morphed my M5 into an E46 3 Series. Now the M5 is actually on a truck en route to San Diego, California right now. It went out this morning. Anyways, finishing up the Shark video. If you have questions, if you have problems, if you have concerns, please read through the entire bit of documentation. If you can't find anything there and you have any basic questions, I'm happy to help answer that. The purpose of this video has been to show you how relatively easy it is to follow the instructions and to go through the process and to shark or unshark your vehicle. It's not a scary process. Just follow the instructions and do it right and you'll be fine, and you'll love that throttle response and additional power and delimiting and whatever else you've done in your specific Shark tune. So thanks for watching this one, guys. We'll talk in the next source video, perhaps out west. Take care.